Mālō lau maria hau ki pea lelei ai Tonga mo vulangi kotoa pe mo mea mai ki he polkalama ko ia ai PIKIPIKI HAMA KAE VAEVAE MANAVA ko polkalama ni mahu inga au pito ki hono puke a fufula pea mo hono whakatolonga e tau rea Tonga pea ko e kawe inga o ku omi ki te au pea mo Micah i he ahoni ko e Punake pea mo e whaiwa whakatonga pea ko homo fine motu au ko Milika Pusiaki fifita ko kulele mai me la paha. Mālō.
Mālō lelei, ko hoku ingoa, ko Micah Alisiate City Veni. I come from the villages of Halonga Vava'u and Labaha. So Nana, as a Punake, what are the 3 main responsibilities?
Thank you, Micah. The 3 main responsibilities of a Punake is that because you're such a special person, you have that special gift from God, and you're able to, elevate yourself when you want to fa'u a hiva, when you want to compose a song. It's like a Tongan version of Shakespeare. You have to go into that portal, you open up that portal and search for the right words. So, and with our Tongan culture, there's a lot of heliaki metaphors. You're able to do that. So the first thing is fa'u. You're able to compose a song. And the second one is when you're able to unpack. Because sometimes you would use someone else's composition and you're able to unpack that composition because there are metaphoric nature in that composition of the fa'u. And the second most important role of a Punake is to be able to unpack that and put actions of fakahaka. So that's the second important roles of a Punake. And the third one is to be able to teach that. Once you choreograph it, I can teach it to you and your friends, or to the village, or even to the whole country for the king's birthday. Those are the main 3 responsibilities of a Punake.
Has there been any challenges from your journey starting off as a Punake to where you are now?
This world is not a perfect world. There'll always be challenges, along the way. Like I said, ko Tonga, in your village, the villagers will respect you because they know who you are and where you come from. And normally in Tonga, you're only Punake for the people of your village and to the royal family. But it's very different here in New Zealand because you have to serve your community, and in that community there are a lot of different people from different backgrounds and villages, and sometimes they may not agree with you because they were taught a different type of taolunga or whaiva in their village back in Tonga. And one of the things also that is a constant challenge for me is trying to when you unpack a song and try to choreograph it, you have to make sure that you out of respect to the composer. So the person that composes it is the only one that knows the true meaning of his composition. So my role as a choreographer, I really have to tread carefully when I try to unpack it so that I don't cross the line and damage or upset the composer. But that's one of the, so I always, if he's still around, if he hasn't left this plane, I would have to seek him for his approval. It's all about respect, the whakaapa-apa, whewei tokai aki, and all that when it comes to Punake, and seek his approval and consent ki au, whakangofua mai au, ke ungawe aki e nehiwa, o whakahaka. Tuku kehe, except if it's my own composition, then it's fine, because I know the literal meaning and the metaphors in my composition. So being a Punake is not an easy task. You know, some people might criticize you, you're young, why, the elders will often look at me and say, why are you doing this? You're young. And but for me, when I do it, first and foremost, I praise God, because I know not only it's a legacy from my ancestors, ka koe mea ofa ai o tua ki te au, ka koe mea pētaha, The other thing, in Tonga, you don't charge. You know, when you do it for love, you know, in Tonga, everything, you know, you don't ask for money. But here in New Zealand, we have expenses. You know, we have to hire a hall. We have to have petrol to go to places to teach. Yeah, so I think those are just the challenges. But otherwise, I love everything that I do as a Punake.
Are there any differences of being a Punake here in New Zealand to being a Punake in Tonga?
Yes. Okay, pe ai whaikehekehe I he Punake koia I Tonga, pe a moe hoko koia koe Punake I New Zealand. Yeah, there's quite a few differences of being a Punake in Tonga and being a Punake here in Aotearoa. In Tonga, you grew up knowing your ancestors, like your father, your grandfather, they were Punakes, or, you know, they hold it as a whatongia or responsibility to the noble of the village. And their duty is to compose, ke wha'u, to put music into the wha'u, to that composition, to choreograph, whakahaka, and then to teach it to the villagers. In preparation, for example, King's birthday happens annually, and they would go to the palace to perform on the palace grounds as part of the celebration of, you know, the King of Tonga's birthday. And that is one of the main role of a Punake in Tonga. And the Punake in Tonga is also help with the preservation of our Tongan culture, language, and dances. Like, for example, in our village, La Paha, we are the custodians of the ancient Tongan dances, like the metupaki, the otuhaka, and the whahaiula. So it's the Punake's responsibilities to preserve that and to teach that or pass that indigenous knowledge that skills to the younger ones like yourselves. Here in New Zealand, it's different. You can be an enthusiast and you're passionate about dancing, then you can go and study about it. And you can, from when you're a student, you can come to people like me and interview for your assignment, and that's how you gain your skills and knowledge. And once you graduated, have either your diploma, your bachelor or master's, then you become a practitioner or a Punake. But like I said before, to be a Punake, you have to be able to compose, to put music into your composition, to choreograph your composition, and also be able to teach it to others. And I think that's the difference there. Here in New Zealand is more modern, more academic, where in Tonga it's more traditional. So with the Whaiva Whakatonga, there's the indigenous traditional ones, and there's the contemporary ones. So I think it's more modern and more advanced here in Aotearoa than back in Tonga.
As a Punake, are there many highlights throughout your journey?
I think for me, highlights are the blessings, and the blessing is not always about me, because you know, with Tonga, offer means to give or to whae whatongia, fuai whatongia. And the highlight for me is when I see my students performed well, or they become tutors themselves. I think that's the blessings for me. And growing up in Tonga, I worked for the Tongan National Centre, where I was a dancer. And my late uncle, Tuialo Kefu, he was the Punake there. I learned not only from my grandfather, but from him. And I had the privilege also to learn from other Punakes who came to the Tongan National Centre. And the highlights for me is coming to Aotearoa and exercising that, you know, or passing on that indigenous knowledge that I gained or was gifted to me by the ancestors. One of the unforgettable moments for me is when I teach the young ones at first. They were so reluctant. They were so reluctant to come to me in the class setting. But after my teaching, about 10, 12 weeks, they are so close to me, we're bonded. And I would often walk to a function, and if they saw me, they'll just yell. They forgot, like the young ones, they just call out my name. We have this special bond, and I think that's really a highlight for me, because the way I teach, I don't just teach. I would explain to them the meaning of why I'm teaching this, the reasons why they wear the cowrie shell of Otapule Oto, why the oil is applied to their body. And I saw their eyes widen, they're lifted. They never thought of it that way. They thought that, Tauranga is just to go and perform and get money or for entertainment. But when I explained to them, it's to preserve their values as a Tongan tahine, and that's one of the most rewarding time for me, is seeing my student understood what I'm teaching.
What made you, or what grabbed your interest into being a Punake?
Yeah, growing up in our village, I saw my grandfather teaching the villagers. I saw my 7 uncles. They were all dancers. I saw Auntie Fusi, Auntie Talavao, Auntie Tuifua, all the aunties. They were also, dancers. And the funny thing was, Micah, I wasn't into it. At school, I established the first hip-hop dance troupe in Tonga, in La Paha. I called it the Albatross. I was, they called me a tomboy because in an early age, I had my hair cut the American style. I had my pants, the khaki pants that allows to say. I was never into it because, when I grew up, it was very strict. Our grandfather would me with the taufale when, my vae has to be in a certain move. It was very strict and I hated it. I want to be free. So when I was away from home, I was, leading this group at school, and then I would be so surprised to come to the prize giving and see me not performing at Tauranga. I would lead my group and doing the hip hop and that. But as I aged, I felt it was a calling. Also my work, straight after high school in 1991, I was supposed to come to New Zealand because all my uncles were here, but Grandpa told me, nope, you're going to the cultural center, and because my uncle Tuialo Kefu worked there, they wanted someone to play the fangu fangu, the nose flute, because they were about to travel to Japan to promote Takimamata, Tonga's tourism. And because Grandpa couldn't go, he was teaching Faiva at Atenisi University. And yeah, he told me to go. And that's where, it changed everything. Not that I like it, but I just felt, at the time I was Tautahavalu, 18-year-old girl, just want to come to New Zealand, always dream of coming overseas. But I think the pull, was, like I said, was a gift from God. The pull was just to talangofua, just to obey Grandpa. And so I went there, 1992, we traveled to Japan, and the rest is history. It just came back and became a tour guide and a dancer until I got married, and everything just keep on adding to me naturally through listening to Grandpa, through working with people in the community, and taking my studies as well.
Do you have any advice for the up-and-coming Punakes?
Yes, I do. Punake, like I said, is a term that used to define a person who's unique. Who is talented. And Punake is someone okulava kene fa'u, compose, okulava kene whakawhasi, put his own music to his composition. Pe okulava foki kene whakahaka, choreograph, Pe lava kene hanga wa ko'i. So Kapau o ke whiema o ke hoko ko Punake. If you want to be a Punake, you have to go through those stages. You have to learn the skill, master the skills of becoming a choreographer, a composer, and a music artist as well. And to do that, it depends on what you want. For the contemporary artist to become a Punake, of course you have to maybe to get a qualification. And some people say, oh, we get it, you know, God give it to us, we can just wing it. No, you can't wing it, because this is a role that helps with the preservation of our culture, and at least talk to the elders, you know, koa to the community, o whiohi mo e kakai. Church is a good place. It's more because the language, you can't separate language from our culture, and through dancing and singing, that's another way of practicing to become a Punake. So really delve deep into those the essence of the Punake by doing that. Read books, but also aluke kalapu, Micah kapau, if you want, you know, they do playing music and they sing. But also ask other Punakes, because I know, like I said before, now introvert, they often, it's not that they don't want to, but that's just the nature of it. They're very humble. They humble themselves and they don't talk a lot. They just let their work speaks for them. So those are the advice or the suggestion I would give for if you want to become a Punake. Ko atua e whakamālō to honga heni kia Yvette couldn't bail po Uhila, pea mo e talasite Fakana'ana'a Fafine. Ko hiko whainga maali e koeni ke tauhanga ai o puke e tau ngahi tala whakatonga i he ngahi hiki o polokalama koeni, e hoko ia ko e ako i ka ingata pe ki he whānau, ka koe pehe foki ki he tō tupu o e kahau ke oua na a auhia pe Mālō e tau matai koloa ko ia o koho tau tala, ngahi ulunganga whakatonga tau te whito ki he whatongia e Punake pea mo e whaiwa whakatonga. O makore whamore atu, pea mo Micah ka pau nei ai harea e tōki tu a pe mahehei, kore peke makapa atu i he vae o matoka, Mālō tua ofa atu.